You're calling for a little bit more from earlier on this season. He hasn't quite got the numbers that you'd like to see, so I'm sure you're happy with his contribution there.
No, it's a brilliant goal, yeah, and it came at a really good time to basically put the tie beyond him. I thought he played quite well in a fantastic all-round team performance, but he needs to do more of that.
Defensively, though, your ball saying very wide open there from a PSV point of view. Throughout the night, what was going on with them?
I thought they were so passive. I thought they lacked physicality. Didn't track runners all night, and in the second half, Ødegaard had the run of the pitch. You know, Arsenal's most creative player. It was just an acres every time. But Kenny and Shev talked about the contribution Rice made. That was immense tonight as well from him. The ground he covered was fantastic. He's like a Rolls Royce out there.
I think that's an inkling into the future for Declan Rice for me in an Arsenal jersey. We've spoken about it already. He's played that disciplined anchor, holding midfield role, but he's better than that. He's a more complete player for that. And if Arteta gets it right with his recruitment in the summer, brings in a centre midfielder to hold the centre of that pitch, then he can release Rice to make these type of runs.
It was more than just that, though, wasn't it? He seemed to be playing nearly as a second striker for a while. He was around Marino, certainly in the first half.
Play as an orthodox central midfield player and just make those runs when he can, when the opportunity presents itself. He can sit behind the ball, he can defend, he's very disciplined, he get a shift out, we know that. He's simple in terms of ball retention. He's not a great pass with the ball.
No.
He's not the most creative, is he?
But I'll tell you, Kenny, he showed some good things tonight. You think of the first goal where he spun on his left foot and then he dinked it far post for Timber. He has got a decent range of passing, but when you're that sixth player, you like to keep the game short and simple. But I agree with you. I think he's got far more to his game than that.
Ødegaard certainly has a lot to his game, and it was just a case of unlocking it maybe over the last few weeks, which he did tonight. What about his, was it sixth goal, I think, for Arsenal?
He got 6 goals tonight, did he?
Not quite, no. He seemed to be
same like us.
Well involved in about 6 of them, yeah. What about his 6th goal for the team?
Oh, I love it. I love the way he played tonight. He's got to do this. I don't enjoy watching. He's so much ability on. When he drops off into these central midfielders and into full-back positions, showed it before the game at Forest, dropping into right-back positions, playing square passes back to the centre-half. What's all that about? He's far too good for that. He can play her up the pitch in the pockets. He's that good technically. His vision, range of passing. So he was back tonight. This is the form that we saw of him a year ago. That's why he's wearing the captain's armband, and Arteta stuck with him, because he can be that type of inspirational figure from a creative point of view in the team.
What you would say, but it was horrendous defending from PSV. He had the freedom in the park. Like, literally, there was no one.
That's usually my line.
I know, but like, try not to take too much away from Ødegaard. Like, but you look at the level we're at in the Champions League and where we're at in the last 16. They have that much space and that much time. They literally run through the whole PSV team.
Keep doing those things. Even against world-class opposition, you won't get as many chances as that, Shay. Don't get me wrong, but you'll still get yourself into the right areas and create more chances.
He started his run from the halfway line.
Yeah, no one touched him. No one tackled him. No one got close.
You know, there was a little bit of movement in front of him, but he's
the principle's right.
A lot more positive. Yeah. And I actually thought you'd taken one touch too many, but when he dropped the shoulder and got the shot away, that's more like it. Rather than passing it, get your shot off.
Standard of goalkeeping is just...
well, it hasn't always been. It's always
Jamie Carragher was right. Jamie Carragher was right.
Their gravity has on, and he can go with his left. He's predominantly left-footed, obviously, but here steps over, puts in a brilliant area. Keeper should do better, really, but it's him, you know, having the drive to get there. This is a great run from Rice, but look how confident he is now. He's taking on the whole PSV defence. Little shuffle, smacks one. I thought he was great, you know, very exciting player to watch, and you know, he's kept it all off with a really good goal. Times his run, gets in the box, and what's a finish that is? I mean, that is devastating finish. You know, so the kid's got power, he's got finesse, he's got skill, he's got speed. So he's not bad.
He's got a chance.
Besides all that,
yeah. He's all right, yeah.
They're still churning them out, aren't they, Arsenal, these young players?
Yeah,
you know?
and I said before as well, there's no pressure, I think, when you're 17 and you kind of play on the age, you play with freedom. You don't think of the bigger picture, you don't think of lack of goals recently, but that finish, as Lenny rightly says, lots of right wingers or whatever, right side forward players stay out in the right wing. He's actually playing as a number 9 there where he comes in, and again, it's an absolute rocket of a finish.
I think he's the body of opinion there suggests Saka comes back in, he's got to step out, but I think he's delivering performances now where I think he has to stay in the team, he has to find a place for him.
But it wouldn't be in place of Saka,
It wouldn't be in place of Saka, of course not, but I think for me there's an argument for saying he plays on the opposite side ahead of Trossard. Now, to argue Trossard has to play on the left because he's predominantly right-footed, we know that's quite common in the modern game, but the ability this lad has what he's shown at the moment, those forward areas of the pitch. I don't think it matters where he plays.
Martinelli's
right
coming
or
back
left.
in though as well fairly soon. You'd have him as your starting wide player on that
This
side.
kid's a killer, isn't he? Martinelli, when it comes to his finishing, you're keeping your
I think
fingers
he's a better
crossed.
finisher.
Yeah.
Wanyeri.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think he's got more cultured left foot. I think he's got whip, good whip on it, and I think he's got power in it as well, and accuracy, and he's quick.
Do they not want players? This is the way it is now. Arsenal and most of the
only part
teams,
of the game.
they want a left-footed player on the right to cut inside.
Well, I tell you what, I'd want on the left. If I was Marino, looks if he's going to play centre forward maybe for the rest of the
crosses.
season. Yeah, I want a few crosses. Somebody who can get on his left foot and whip
Few
crosses
lefties,
into the box. Nothing wrong with that either.
I don't think it would phase the kid where he played, across the front three.
Yeah.
I just really like the look of him, and I've been impressed with him since he's broken into the team.
How would you describe Declan Rice's performance tonight? All action, box to box.
Tasty. No, I loved it, but this isn't a surprise, Owen. He's got this in his game, but clearly there had been conversations before the game. Look at him, he's actually in advance of Ødegaard inside the box. Made a conscious decision to get himself involved. He's dribbling initially, lends the ball away, gets himself into advanced area. Looks as if the danger's gone here. Good feet, shifts it onto his right hand side. He's got a good shot from distance actually. He scored some spectacular goals for West Ham and Arsenal from distance, so he's got it in him. Again, receiving the ball, this is almost an orthodox centre forward position. This is an indication of how good his all-round game is. That's a brilliant cross into the box. Again, look at little nuts here, whipping that with real power at the inside of his right foot. Just thought he was exceptional. And sometimes the game is just simple. So when you're talking about a second striker, I'm talking about a third man run from midfield. There's a difference just waiting, being patient, and waiting for the opportunities to present themselves. It was an all-action display, great energy up and down the pitch. It was just a phenomenal performance. Gonna let Shay take up here.
This is Raya from the corner. Look at Declan Rice. He started inside the box zone, and this is when you're 6 or 7-1 up. It's just crazy. I said before, I can't believe where the energy comes from. And again, he could have actually just sat there at the back and not gone for that. One's a corner again. He was just phenomenal today. What I would say from his position on the pitch, it was kind of like, again, going back to repeating myself, but because it was PSV, it felt like Party's in the number 6 role. We don't need you next to holding hands, we've seen a lot of the time, and sitting disciplined in that position. We want you to be really offensive.
You always hear about showing the opposition respect, but actually sometimes you have to show them a little bit of disrespect.
I think
maybe.
it was lack of respect. Or trying to go
open and we're
forget
gonna
about them
push
for
up
now.
on you. Yeah.
Party's good enough to sort of hold the fort at the back, and obviously with Gabriel and the likes behind him and Raya. But I just think he was really played more. I know I understand Kenny third man runs. I get that as well. But there was times he was playing out and out next to Mourinho. And
You've got to tap into that. If you're a manager, you can see a player with that kind of ability, because it's not just about him arriving and getting the ball to his feet. He releases straight space for the people. He draws players to him. Someone's got to mark him when he makes those runs. That releases space for other players, whether it's Mourinho or Ødegaard or those wingers around him. So there's there's a lot of advantages to it. You can't put the handcuffs back on him. You know what I mean? Next week and
No, it
going
was
forward.
interesting in his interview after the game. He mentioned the word enthusiasm, and that's been missing from Arsenal. Bit of life, bit of desire, and it was all manifested tonight in all the players' performances, but especially the top men, if you want to call them that.
But I think as well, I mentioned already, the freedom of having no FA Cup game at the weekend. There's a freshness to the whole team. Like there's a spark. They want to get on the pitch and play.
Can they win this competition? Do any of you think they're possible Champions League winners?
Listen,
you've given us a get out.
While you're in it, you can win it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
While you're in it, you can win it. And if they get a couple of, defensively they're very, very strong. If they can get a couple of the bigger players in the attack back.
It's mad to think.
It's a big ask.
It's a big question, but it's mad to think that because everyone's saying it's such a disappointing season for Arsenal. They've dropped off the Premier League. Arteta's under pressure, and they go tonight and have this unbelievable result. And then we're saying, which they have got a good a chance as anyone to win this. It could be a phenomenal season
They have
for
potentially
Arsenal.
got Real Madrid or Atletico in the quarters.
But if you're going to win it, you've got to beat these teams on.
Well, you got to hope somebody else beats Real probably, and then.
But
you go
the point is, you still
might
have to play them anyway.
But I think they're better off home and away. A better chance of beating Real Madrid like that in the quarters than a one-off final.
Yeah, so we're talking about the German teams that are boring and maybe Leverkusen, maybe a little bit short, and the reasons why defensively a little bit kind of loose. Well, Arsenal defensively, forget about that.
Exactly.
We know how strong they can be. And now if they can add that extra dimension to their attack and play, they come into the conversation.
One issue they have had, though, and this is over the course of Mikel Arteta's time in charge there, again rearing its head quite regularly this season, is discipline. Literally not tactical, but just in terms of yellow and red cards. And it's problematic again tonight, Shane.
Yeah, madness. They've had 5 red cards this season, dropped 10 points in the Premier League. This is Lewis Skelly's first yellow card. It's an easy decision for the referee. And I think this is 2 minutes later, Owen. this is just a moment of absolute madness, and it's only 2-0 at this stage. I really think they should have went to 10 men. That we could be talking about a totally
He
different
stayed
result
on the
now.
pitch, but he was subbed. 10
Yeah, he was
minutes later by
subbed.
his
I mean,
manager.
I think that's Arteta going, do you know what, I've got away with one, come sit next to me. But again, I think he's a really good player, but lack of discipline could cost him as well.
And they've been picking up these yellow cards as well, which could come back to haunt them, because the yellow cards only get wiped after the quarter-finals, Kenny. So if they end up in Timber, for example, has 2 now. If he was to get 1 more, for example, in the second leg, he might well be rested for that. Or even in the first leg of the quarter-final, he would then be suspended for, say, the second leg of the quarter-final.
Yeah, this was so stupid. 5-1 up. 5-1 up the game. There's no need for this. Just a bit of game intelligence. These are the games you want to be playing in as a player. High-profile games. To miss out under those circumstances was an absolute killer.
Is there any way for the manager to be on top of that without them losing their edge?
Of
though?
course, you have to. You know, it's part of especially at this level, especially with the players that you want to come up against. You know, they've got all the dark arts. They know how to get you booked. They know how to win tackles. They know how to win fouls. So, yeah, all those instances there could have been avoided. And that's the thing that gets to me. How Lewis Skelly stayed on the pitch is beyond me, really. But it was madness, and the penalties madness, and they've got to cut that out, because apart from that, they're a very good team.